Hello, and this is my second design for you today. And so I have got the most beautiful vibrant red Cornus alba, which has been cut now for 3 or 4 weeks, and so it's dried. I've removed the foliage, but you can just see snippets of kind of the character of when it was fresh. Cornus is such a diverse wood. I settled it into a wax-based container, which again is just for mechanics, structure, it's decorative. If you had scented candles, actually it would also kind of get the senses going also. This is my floral festive extravaganza, so we've got some vibrant birds and accessories. My mechanics, or my medium, is going to be water, so as you can see I've got these test tubes, and again my mechanic here is quite organic. It's the ratchet, the potato ratchet. I'll show you afterwards how to use that. And so I've bound to the test tubes with 2 placements, so everything's really secure. And so I'm going to fill my test tubes with water. So just kind of 2/3 the way up. And the beauty of using water in your test tube is the fact that it creates kind of a transparency. It makes it just a little bit more magical. And so most of my test tubes are actually placed in the wax. And even though the concept is really easy, there will be a video to actually show you that process and the various ways of kind of building up in layers and so on. And so I've got my structure, and this is really sound. And so what I want to use in here, can you see the red? So what I thought I'd go with is this beautiful amaranthus. And again, can you see how it just dances? It's almost like another bird. And so taking my knife, I'm just gonna place this. The beauty of using Cornus and creating a structure is the fact that, can you see how that's just nestled and it's supporting it? And so the amaranthus is just nestled, just trailing beautifully. I'm almost created a cage, which wasn't my intention. I could lie to you and say it was. But actually this design has evolved. And so when I finished it and kind of put the birds on it, I was like, oh gosh, it does look like the birds are encased. And so I think it's rather beautiful if the flowers actually fall in that direction. And I'm sorry for just dropping that on the floor. So anything going in water needs to be stripped. But look already the kind of the movement, the beautiful kind of the movement of just those 3 stems of amaranthus. I think I'll probably just have one on the side. I think probably just to take your eye down, I think we'll just have one at the base. It's okay, see how my accessories now are actually the less obvious, less stated, because the flowers we want for them to predominate. And so to complement that, I'm going to use some of the sword fern, which is actually dried now, but isn't that just so textural? It enhances any design. It's rather beautiful. And so I'm going to place this, and I'm going to go quite high with it. So we're creating almost that canopy, that almost tropical canopy, but also it makes the birds look as though they're in flight or just nestled in the tree. So this is really my ultimate favourite design. It's something that I've taken from my garden, because this Cornus is from my garden. But the Cornus in its natural wood, the flowers are quite insignificant. But it's mainly for its foliage, the colour of its stem. Cornus is quite diverse. It's mainly grown for its winter colour of the bark. So can you see, just no particular format, quite random. Just placing those stems inside. And the beauty of this is it's a Christmas design, and we're actually doing this at the end of October for you. And the Cornus is going to dry. The fern's going to dry, and so really you just need to clean out the test tubes and just buy fresh flowers every 10 days or so. You can incorporate lights in it. I've got loads of things with lights in today, so I thought I'd have to add one without. So this one's kind of moving around, it needs to nestle that into there. So you can see we still have transparency, you can see through the design, it's not a solid mass, that's really important. Unless of course it's a dinner table and you don't want to see the person opposite, but there you go. And so these are a little bit early for the season, but I just wanted to show you some beautiful, listen to that sound, it's squeaky, you can tell how fresh these tulips are. I really wanted parrot tulips and have them really kind of going up into the design, but we're just a little bit early for tulips, and so we have to make do really. Whoops. Can you see how we put those two together? Wrong direction. I'm going to move that over. Did you know tulips were squeaky? Tulips are phototropic, and so they move to the light. So the beauty of putting them in amongst the construction is they will grow up into the corners, but they have that structure. So when they get a little bit top heavy, they're still supported and they still look absolutely beautiful. So changing directions, having them crisscrossing. Can you see how I've just crisscrossed those stems there? Because that's how they grow in nature. Well, not in nature, but in September when I bought the bulbs and threw them onto the garden, so they were quite random placement, and then planted them. This is how they grow. They grow at a similar height. And my stems are going all over the place. I have got some test tubes quite high up also because they're short stems. It's literally to take that colour up into the canopy of my design. The foliage in this, I've removed the lower foliages, but can you see how the curve? So every element of this flower is just superb, beautiful. I like this. I love to play. We could have made this more stylized and more modern, perhaps if I'd sprayed the Cornus white, if I'd used, or even silver. And then it would have been a little bit more blingy and less vegetative. But I think this is just one possibility. And now I'm looking for all the test tubes. It's a fabulous sound. So can you see any test tubes there? Ah, yes, I can see them. So let's have something quite tall going up from the centre. So I'm going to place this in at this angle, and so it looks like it's kind of emerging from just slightly off centre. Right, she says. I bet you can see a test tube there that's no flowers in. Ha! I'm going to have one quite low. Just so it takes your eye a little bit lower, creating a little bit of that transition. And taking the colour really low down. Do you know, I didn't realise I'd actually used so many test tubes. So if you want to know how I actually did this, how I prepared it, what I melted the wax in, and the preparation and the execution, then you can actually buy the video for this. But can you see how actually it's quite a large design, an impressive bold design with actually quite limited materials. So I hope you like that.